Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's Pio Marolla here from ThinkLinkers, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all for one of the most cheerful topics you can think of for a Friday afternoon: data migration. Well, first of all, I would like to ask you, where are you coming from? I'm currently in Yerevan in Armenia, where I have recently moved, so I may not be an expert in data migration, but let me tell you, over the last month and a half, I've been moving from Prague to Italy and finally to Armenia. So I know something about moving stuff around. And let me tell you, if I were to pack all my things in garbage bags and just carry them around with me, it wouldn't have been a good experience. And there is similarities with how you do data migration as well. If the stuff that you carry around with you is not correctly stored, categorized, and so on, you will end up in the new apartment with the same old problems that you had before. So let's see who is online and tell me where you're coming from. Now, it's a sunny day here, as always, actually very sunny country and a beautiful environment as well. So it's almost the end of the week, and again, I'm just looking forward to delve deep into the topic of data migration powered by automation. And this is a great and very, very current topic. As we see nowadays, we're in the era of speed, the era of mergers and acquisitions, and also we're at a time where lots of companies are upgrading their ERP providers. Therefore, there are so many data migrations out there, and it's very important that we tackle them properly. And for this, we have the guest of the day. Of course, I have an enormous pleasure having with me again Dr. Imad Syed, who has a lot of experience with data migration, and I'm certain he's eager to share some of them with you. So without any further ado, let's see who is online here. We have Salim from India. We have Asif from Saudi Arabia. And it's time to welcome on stage Dr. Imad. Welcome, Imad. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Good to
Now,
hear. Good to hear.
I always enjoy speaking to you. We had a couple of sessions before, but I would like to start with a bit of an introduction. So for those that didn't attend the previous session, tell us something about yourself.
I'm Imad Syed. I've been passionate about data. You know, worked, had a hands-on experience with the data, expertise with the data, with over 2 decades of experience, and developed a lot of strategies, frameworks around data, and helped a lot of customers achieve the value, derive the value out of their data, which is actually hidden gold. I mean, that's the language that everybody is talking. So data analytics world, data science is my world, and we have done quite a few great things. When it comes to data management, data governance, data frameworks, and all of that. So, I mean, it would be my pleasure to share those experiences so that everybody doesn't have to start from the scratch.
Indeed. And let us get right into it. I see that nowadays every other customer that we talk to, every other one of our attendees is in a data migration project, probably a major one. So data migration itself is not a new thing, but why do we see so many migrations nowadays?
Yeah, I think that's the disruption, and everybody has realized that data is the foundation for their organization. However, the technologies or the solutions or the systems where the data was hosted, that was not up to the mark. That's the reason there have been new evolution of technologies and systems, such as if you now look at the ERP world, new ERP are coming up, especially on cloud, especially on private cloud or public cloud. And everybody would like to move their data into private or public cloud, or some of them actually upgrade their technologies. And if I just throw a number to you to quantify it, I mean, in the next 2.5 to 3 years, so which is by end of 2027, we are anticipating that a minimum of 50,000 data migrations would happen. What does that mean? It means that in 2.5 years, 50,000 successful data migrations would happen. I'm not talking about very small industries or very small businesses. I'm talking about medium, large, extra large, and 50,000 is a big number. And I don't think that there are data migration players or the SI should be able to cope up with this demand. And it's a huge demand, and everybody would like to move on to cloud. Everybody would like to take their data to the next level so that they can get business insights. And with the AI disruption, they will have to utilize the capabilities not just within premises but also externally as well. So they will have to bring their data together into a platform, integrated so that they can derive the insights out of it. And that's the reason everybody is hurrying up. Everybody is in a race to get their data sorted out so that they can actually capitalize on the AI initiatives.
Indeed. Let me welcome, we have plenty of people that are joining in. We have
Wow.
Lisa from South Carolina. We have Robin from Belgium. We have Keshav from India. And more and more and more. So welcome you all. It's really a pleasure to have you all joining this session. And of course, feel free to ask questions. This is why we have sessions like this. So obviously, data migrations, whenever I talk about it, it's not something described as something pleasant. In fact, it can be quite challenging and quite time consuming. What did you personally see are the main challenges when embarking on a migration?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is that uh, nobody, I think, 9 out of 10 companies don't know where their data is that must be taken forward. That's actually a very, very, risky thing if you don't know. The reason for that is there are different data owners for different data sets, and that's a challenge. And do they trust in the data owner as well as do they trust in the data set? Probably not. Many of them would say that, yeah, we would like to validate it, we would like to look at it. So they don't know what is it that they must take forward. And your example of when you are moving yourself around, you do not want to carry all the legacy, you do not want to carry everything along with you because you want to be agile, you want to move with a lean approach. In the same way, adapting the lean data migration approach is important. And if you don't do that, you will always carry that baggage. And every data set is important, but it does not have to be in your active area, in your operations. You can actually create a data warehouse and offload a lot of data, or you can do, data archiving and move that data set to a site. So that's one challenge. The second challenge, the biggest challenge that I'm seeing is that not having the right skill set for the data migration, because data migration is not just taking a data set A and moving it to B. Absolutely not. It is not. It is it's a process, it's a methodology, it's a framework. However, you also need the understanding of the business. If you don't understand the business of it, you don't know what data set is more important and what is it that you must mask. So data sensitivity is there and all those things. And in the journey, like you very, very rightly said, in the journey of data migration, it's not a pleasant journey. Absolutely not. And you would have a lot of firing that happens post the data migration project because of the data losses, data security, data safety, and also wrong data is actually causing a bigger threat to the business. So those are the challenges. But apart from that, what I have seen is that people are not adapting the agile automated processes. They are not adapting to that. They are still, following the same methodology that was used 10, 15 years ago. We can actually accelerate that. We can actually move forward with that. So, not having the right skill set, not having the right tools specifically designed for different source and target systems, as well as not knowing what to move forward is a problem. And this is something that we are hearing. Lift and shift. Okay, lift it and shift it to cloud. But what are you moving to cloud? You are moving to cloud all the junk, which is not required, which is exactly like, garbage in and garbage out. Why do we need to do that? And when you are embarking on a journey, you need to ensure that the data set that you are taking forward will take your business forward, not just, your history forward.
100%, and it's like it's garbage in and garbage in the new place as well. You're just
Yeah,
carrying all the garbage as well.
absolutely, absolutely.
Which you very rightly pointed out. It's not only unneeded, but it's also dangerous. You may have things there that that pose threats to the organization.
Yeah.
And so, how does automation step in this discussion? How can automation make data migration less of a nightmare?
See, automation brings in consistency first of all, because in any data migration project you have several stakeholders, several people, several data analysts are there, business users are there, approvers are there, domain expertise are there, and functional consultants are there. So it has to go through several steps. But with automation, you can actually minimize these steps because you can automate. Now I will tell you something. Now, if you are moving from one source to the other destination, one place to another place, and if you know exactly the route once, and then you know what are the alternative things, you can actually automate it depending upon some triggers, depending upon some rules, depending upon some of the data science algorithms. Now, again, if your source is SAP, let us just consider that, and uh, older version of SAP, and then destination or the target system is cloud or S4 HANA cloud. You know exactly the data structures in the source. You know exactly the data structures within the target system, and you can do mapping of it. Yes, there will be slight changes because every installation of be it SAP or Oracle or MS Dynamics or whatever it is slightly different, but you would at least have 80 to 90% of the similarities because the base tables, because of the configuration tables, because of your transaction data, because of your operational data, and all of that is actually not changing. So you can automate all of that. So what we have done is that we studied all of this, and again, it's not just a job of one or two guys. It's 40 plus different data science resources who have studied this and established a pattern, saying that okay, this is the format, this is the pattern that we see, and this is the sequence of things that you must do. Such as, if you would like to move out all the customer data, then you don't have to do anything. You have automated it. You say that this is the customer data that I would like to move, and these are the generic rules. So everything is configured in a solution which is powered by data science. And by the way, the name is Smart Integraphics. That's the solution which has got a data migration module. And there you just utilize the predefined transformations, predefined connections, predefined rules, predefined logic, validations, and everything in it. And then if you would like to add or remove or change certain things, you would be able to do that. And then click of a button. And the beautiful thing here is, Pio, that you can schedule it, saying that let it run from 11 o'clock tonight until tomorrow 3 o'clock. So while we are sleeping, the tool does the data migration. It goes through exactly the same logic of it. And in the data migration, why again we need automation is that it's not that you are just taking the data once and moving it to other place. Absolutely not. First of all, you configure the business rules on the target system based on the source system, and then what you do is you take 10% of the data or 5% of the data. So you do a lot of testing using the mocks. So you have mock 1 round, iteration 2, iteration 3, then go live simulation to the QA server, all of that. And every time you cannot do this from scratch. So that's the reason you need to bring in automation. If you don't bring in automation, and when you bring in automation, it's actually getting the data from different sources, different data sets, merging it, mapping it, validating it, and pushing it. And then on the other side, you can have the data quality rules set up, wherein you can see that which of these rules have been violated, which of these rules have been shortfall, and then you can redo them. So if it is not automation, you need mammoth workforce and thousands of hours to migrate the data. And I'm not talking about even billions of records. I'm talking about only few millions, but the accuracy is important. That's the reason consistency is important, the timeliness is important, and then accuracy is important, referential integrities are important. So all those things, without automation, it is not possible.
Unless it comes at an enormous, unless the company is ready to spend an enormous amount of time and money.
Absolutely. And again, I'm not sure whether you have heard or seen some of the numbers. Those numbers are absolutely big numbers. The amount of time spent, money spent on each of the data migration projects of these conglomerates or the big companies, it's in millions of dollars.
Yeah. And they don't always end up being successful as well. That's important to mention too.
No. Yeah, I don't want to mention the names, but some of the big names, where they have done the data migration and they reverted it back. So they did not go live with the new solution. They went back to the old solution. So all the man months, thousands of man hours wasted down the drain, hours wasted, the pressure, the strategy, vision, and they went back to the old system, which means that they could not rely on the data that has been migrated into the new solution or the new system. That's why you need to really predefine what exactly is the objective of it. It's not moving the data. It's absolutely not moving the data. It is how you would take your business power.
Yeah. I've heard about similar stories as well. That it ended up being, not bringing much, and companies reverting back to the old system. So, What do you think? Is it? Of course, there is the data quality, and there is also the matter of actually migrating the data. But do you think that what makes data migrations fail is the initial strategy for it, or it is the fact that it is conducted in such an inefficient manner?
I think both of them. But first of all, you need to actually see what is the business that you would like to take it forward. Such as probably a company X might be doing several businesses and they might have several different systems and solutions. They would like to consolidate everything and bring it into one solution. And the moment you want to do that consolidation of it, that's the mammoth task, because you need to understand what was going on in the previous landscape and what exactly should go on in the future one. So your strategy is important there. And then the moment you have the right strategy, you need to put down your right players there. And that's the reason I'm saying that instead of doing that, choose a tool that has automation, that has repetitive capability, that has the data quality embedded in that. And if you don't choose that, it's not going to help you. Again, when we talk about data quality, each industry has got a different data quality. So data quality rules are important when you are making a shift from one technology to other technology. And then the execution point is actually will drain you down from the effort perspective, from the economic grounds perspective, from all the effort perspective. It's going to drain you down.
Yeah, and I feel that automation leaves a little bit of sort of relieves a bit the company from all the manual work and the thousands of man hours, and This many hours could be actually invested in an initial stage where certain fundamental rules and objectives are established. So kind of more, kind of a very qualified, selective work in the beginning.
Right, right. Absolutely. You need to do a pre-planning stage. And I will just give you one of the use cases, or one of my experiences is that we went to an organization, can't name it. So we were sitting in a board meeting wherein they say that, gentlemen, how long will it take for you to move the data from this system to the other system? And I said, okay, where's your data? The guy brought in a hard drive. He says that I have 800 gigs of data. I want this data to be moved to the new system. So that is how clueless the guys are. And if you are a stakeholder in that committee and you just bring in this data and say that I want this data to move to the other system, what are we talking about? I mean, you are not talking about pre-planning stage. You are not talking about mapping the right data sets. You are not talking about the validations. You just want this data to be put it into other system, as if we are taking that hard drive and plugging it into new server or new hardware. And that is how people have the understanding of it. And that's why the awareness need to be brought in terms of it. And in another case, the guy said that here is my library, this is my library, I would like all this data to be loaded into my new system. How can you do that? You are not even digitized your data, and you would like to be ready for the digital transformation. That's a big jump. And seriously, you are going to fail there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a comment here from Dr. Joe. I agree wholeheartedly, gentlemen. In data migration powered by automation, accuracy ensures trust, consistency, maintains integrity across systems, and timeliness guarantees relevance, all of which are non-negotiable for turning data into actionable intelligence instead of costly chaos. Well said.
Yeah, yeah, always Dr. Joe, he doesn't just give you one-liners, he explains to you comprehensively. Thank you, Dr. Joe. We 100%
Now,
agree.
yeah, spot on, spot on. Now, you of course now you're leading the organization, and but you started also as a system engineer, and you must have seen your own fair share of migrations. Now I'm curious to know from you whether the challenges remain the same, whether there have been relevant changes from the time you started until now.
Uh, you know, I have done hundreds of data migrations myself. I was involved, I was leading the team. I really enjoyed working with the data sets and establishing the integrity of it, finding the relevance of it, data quality of it. So truly, and we used to do all this work during the nights so that there's no disruption to the business. And that way, all the learning was during the nights while everybody was sleeping. But the challenges, I think, remained almost same. At that point in time, we did not had so many tools, for us to use. But now there are several tools that are available. But still, I personally feel that if you do not have the business acumen, if you cannot identify what kind of data set must go where and what kind of transformation or improvement or enrichment is required for the data set, you can never be a good data migration consultant. And people call themselves data migration consultants. It's not just moving data from one table to other table. It is understanding the value of each data element. It is understanding the value of where it is going to be used, how that is going to be used within the transactions, how it is going to be analyzed out of the transactions, and what is the foundation for each of that, the base tables, configuration, all of that somebody need to understand. And I still see that is lacking, because it's not just the data which is in bits and bytes. It is the value, it is the business value that you carry, that you take it forward. So there are still challenges like that, but I personally believe that there have been great amount of tools that have hit the market and people are utilizing it. But the tremendous demand that this has created is again creating the scarcity of the resources as well as the expertise.
as well as a panic state, you know.
Yeah,
And I agree fully with you about automation. I mean, the tools that are coming out every other month are remarkable. On top of
yeah,
that, we also have artificial intelligence and so on. So, tools exist, but again, the challenge seems to be this initial, thinking that is able to turn these tools into something useful, into something that
yeah.
can operate according to a certain strategy. It's interesting how um, things have changed in this sense.
Yeah, yeah. See, we cannot definitely blame any tool for unsuccessful projects, because the same tool can be used for also a successful project. So it's the business acumen, it's the right data set that must move into the future business. If that does not happen, then the data migration is a failure. And other thing that we have seen is that there's always sensitive information when you are moving the data from one place to other place. How are you managing that sensitive information? How are you minimizing the data losses? How are you bringing in the data transparency? How are you bringing in the data stewardship in that for the approvals? All those things, I mean, all these nitty-gritty things are important. And if you do not consider all those things, the data migration project is going to be absolutely an unsuccessful one, and everybody will blame only the technology. Let me tell you clearly, no technology can drive the bad data. So even technologies need the right data, otherwise the processes will not work.
I 100% agree. And, organizations should also consider that with all the tools that then are able to, like artificial intelligence and every other emerging technology, it makes sense to bring the good data past the migration. Like,
Yeah,
okay, migrated and everything. But don't you want to take advantage of everything that is out there that relies heavily on data and, get past the migration effort and actually gain some competitive advantage as a result of it? Of course.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Why the businesses make an investment into data migration or upgrade of the technology? Because they would like to have the competitive advantage. They would like to have the better decision making. But if you are not moving the right data quality into the future systems, I mean, you are, however, going to make wrong decisions. And why then invest into a data migration project or a technology upgrade if your decision making is not changing?
100%. Let's talk about AI. How does it step in to help in data migration? And let's talk about both the general AI and the generative and the conversational AI. How does that help?
At this point in time, every I mean, be it a general artificial intelligence, or some of the bits and pieces of that, because it's still not 100% available, or generative AI, or any of the ML stuff, which is the machine learning algorithms are there, models are there. Each one of them are contributing, definitely contributing in terms of data migration, in terms of data enrichment, in terms of data quality, in terms of establishing data competitiveness. So those are absolutely helping. However, if you really want to, like the number that I have mentioned in the beginning, that 50,000 plus data migration should happen in the next 2.5 years. If you do not utilize the AI capabilities, if you do not utilize the artificial intelligence and the data science models and algorithms, then you are definitely not going to achieve. So generative AI is going to help you do certain things, but is it going to help you tremendously? Probably not. But combination of ML, which is the machine learning models, combination of a little bit of generative AI, combination of different techniques, as well as the other algorithms, the automation algorithms are going to give you huge advantage whenever you would like to move from one system to the other system, or move the data from one system to the other system.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what we have. Ah, yes, Natalia joined the chat. Happy to see you joining us finally, Natalia. And of course, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, it's your time to talk, to ask some questions about data migration, perhaps sharing some challenges. I know it's not the topic for Friday afternoon. You're probably thinking about the beautiful weekend coming ahead of us, but 50,000 data migrations are going to happen, and it's very likely that if you're here, you're in the middle of it. So ask us questions. We are here for that. We have a comment here from Dr. Joe. Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Pio. Like Dr. Imad, I've also done data migrations for years, starting with no tools and now using every automated solution imaginable. Still, one truth remains. The principles haven't changed. Tools can speed things up, but without strong business acumen and a clear understanding of the job, they're just noise. As Dr. Imad pointed out, it's the strategy, not the tech, that drives success. That's the heart of true data migration mastery. And
Absolutely.
the AI, the tech. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But look.
See, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Now, see, Dr. Joe is mentioning because, those who have worked 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I mean, they would absolutely agree with the doctor's statement here, because it is true. The principles haven't changed much, but again, the scarcity of the resources, scarcity of the business acumen, all of those things are still the challenges even in today's world.
Yeah, they haven't changed at all. Not at all. Now, we know it's not the technology. I mean, it's the technology is not the main thing that needs to be this initial business argument. At the same time, probably tools are not all the same. So if there is anything you would recommend, like what to look for in a tool when before embarking on the data migration, what would you say? What should the tool have as characteristics?
See, the tool should have, again, whenever we are taking a data, migration project, the tool should have the capability to connect directly to the backend. And if we do not have that capability to connect directly, so you need the right connectors. Once you have the right connectors, then you need right integration. So once you have that integration, then you need the consolidation capabilities, and then deduplication and the validation capabilities. Once you have all of that, you should be able to build your data pipeline. And once the data pipeline is built, the data transformation capabilities, data analytics capabilities, and error handling capabilities. Those are, few of them that every tool need to have. And over and above this, if it is a repetitive thing, it should be repeatable, which means that automation should be there so that you do not have to reinvent the pipeline every time. Once you establish it, and you can move from one place to another place thousands of times, if you have to move them. And that's what we need. And again, Pio, what I would like to, ask is that what are the challenges that our industry is facing currently? If there is any challenge, out there, and they want me to address about it, they can leave a comment. We will revert back to them, and then we will help them, because we do not want somebody to reinvent the wheel, because we have gone through it, we have experience, we have expertise, and we have the tool sets, and they can reach out to us, and probably we'll be able to help them with a tip or two.
Very good, very good. It's and yes, the technology has evolved indeed. So thank you for listing out some of the things that the new tools are, because I mean, you still need the tool,
Yeah,
don't you, to do this?
Absolutely.
What about conversational AI? How does it feature in this discussion?
A conversational AI is doing a great help. I mean, in not just within the data migration tools, but across various platforms. And even in the data migration tool, conversational AI can supplement the knowledge, that is required for the data migration. Maybe a data steward or data analyst would like to do certain things, and conversational AI can help guide the data analyst or data steward doing the things in a right way, or guiding it through certain steps that are necessary for a successful data transformation or building a data pipeline and that. So conversational AIs are of a great help anyway in any platform, and especially in the data migration where business acumen is there. So we have also trained, the conversational AI to guide each role player what are the different steps. So based upon what they would like to achieve out of it. So conversational AI absolutely plays a vital role in this.
And it's another technology that is getting better and better, by the way. I mean, we're used to chatbots, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And conversational AI is really something different nowadays.
Absolutely, it is 100% different than the chatbots, because here conversational AI is never-ending experience until you get to a resolution. Whereas chatbot was after a few questions, you don't know what exactly is to ask, because it's the dead end.
Yeah, we have a comment here from Sai that points out about starting with a clear problem statement rather than tech
Right.
tools.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. The business objective of data migration need to be determined first. Why are we doing this? And what are the challenges that we have currently that we are going to address in our future prospect? And if we address that, then that's your plan, that's your strategy. And then to execute it, yes, you would require a lot of things, and tools is one of the mechanisms to move the data from one place to other place.
yeah. And I see the potential of conversational AI. It's actually one of the forms of AI that I find the most intriguing, because it's so difficult sometimes to understand how a tool works, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
used to have people that are just, you need highly specialized, highly skilled people in a specific, using a specific tool. And conversational AI with the ability to guide people and the kind of bridge this distance between the human communication and the machine communication is really quite promising. It's I don't know if you've seen, there was
it's
a comment by the CEO of in NVIDIA about the fact that one day AI is built so that no one needs to be a programmer, study to be a programmer, and is a programmer thanks to AI instead. So suddenly the technology finally helps us, rather than having to hire 50 people in order to use the technology to then make
yeah,
sense for people.
yeah, yeah. Especially your enablement, empowerment of the users, and also the learning. All these things are accelerated by conversational AIs. Otherwise, you had to train somebody, and those hundreds of thousands of hours that one would invest, any organization would invest in coaching somebody, in training somebody, probably using a tool or using a methodology, all those have been now reduced because you don't need. And all the conversational AIs are powered by NLU as well as NLP, which means that you can even ask questions in your natural language and it would respond to you, it would guide you, it would help you. So it's actually a co-pilot for you.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And here there's a comment as well from Joe. AI tools enhancing rather than replacing the human element. Absolutely. They're intended to stimulate our creativity and not stifle it. Use the tool, don't let the tool use you.
Yeah. That's a good
Spot on.
statement. That's a good statement. Like again, like I always said, if AI is not improving the efficiency, productivity, and enhancing the capabilities of humans, then it's not AI. Now, why then having AI? It has to complement and supplement the human competencies.
Yes, and again, there is this critical initial part that is necessary, which is the initial guide and let's say the prompt, to use a term used in AI, that needs to be
Right.
the correct one. There is nothing inherently negative about it, and perhaps there is also nothing miraculous about it either. It's not like we're talking right now about automation, right? The title of the
Yeah.
the session is about automation, but we're talking about strategy.
Yeah.
We're not talking about automation like, okay, automate everything and you can go to sleep and do nothing. You don't need to think about your data migration anymore, and you can cut all the costs that are necessary. It's not exactly like this. There needs to be still this human channeling action
Yeah.
and having a supervising role. What do you think?
Absolutely. See, once you have the strategy, that needs an execution, but it needs accelerated execution, and that accelerated execution comes from automation. However, who are the
Yeah.
guys who are going to validate and take ownership of it, or custodians of it? It's again human. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to cut down that effort. We are trying to reduce that effort by implementing automation and accelerate the objective of moving the data from one place to other place, but we are not cutting down entirely the human factor. So human factor would be there, but the tedious things that humans were used to do when data had to be migrated, those have been minimized to an extent, probably 80% or 90% of minimization has happened with the automation, with the data science algorithms, with the machine learning models.
Hmm. That's remarkable. And I'd like to hear from you, based on your experience, one case of an incredible data migration project that did all the things that an organization hoped to do, in the case of a disastrous one.
Yeah, there is this one large conglomerate. Uh, they did everything right. They did everything right, from moving from one big ERP to other big ERP, but only realized just probably 6 to 8 weeks before go live that the business features that they were looking at were not available in the future system.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you want to actually fly high, but you have not checked all the engines and all the nuts and bolts that has to be fastened enough, and maybe some of them were missing, and they stopped it. They called it off. How many millions? Probably I cannot even count on my fingers that they have wasted. And this is a true story. But do they, talk about it? They probably don't talk about it because they have made the wrong decision, which is again a problem statement, or which is again their business objective was not clear what you wanted to achieve, because somebody has just sold them this new ERP, and they were very much fascinated about it. They started moving all the data. Just 6 to 8 weeks before go live, they had to stop, and all the effort of nearly 18 months down the drain.
Yeah. What about a good story?
Good story, it's a after a lot of pain. I mean, I can talk about in Middle East. We have been involved in one of the largest data migration projects. It has been a success. We merged, again in India as well, 13 different organizations' data. We moved it into one system, single source of truth, and all of that. But again,
Mm-hmm.
we had the right people managing the right data sets and right people looking at the right strategy and executing it on time. So, you definitely need right resources, you need the right business objectives, you need the right tools, and then not over ambitious challenges, not over ambitious timelines. Because sometimes you say that, okay, let's do it in 2 months, and you mess up the whole thing.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A healthy dose of realism is quite important in these things too.
Yeah,
It's not like you're moving nothing. It's still an enormous effort. And this whole conversation ties up very well to an article that we published earlier today, talking about
mm,
the evolution of the data management of the data manager or the data professional from a person mainly focused on technical skills to a strategic connector.
right.
Someone who is exactly able to bridge this both mindset and technical silos that exist in the organization, and which is a problem that always existed. But now we're
Yeah,
understanding there are tools that can help us do a lot of the tedious stuff. So what do you
right.
need? A strategic connector. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Rightly, explained that. Your articulation was very right on that. Here, I just want to go to one interesting comment here from Robin,
Yeah.
wherein lack of documentation. No, that's absolutely right. Whenever you are doing that, lack of documentation of the customization, that's a pain point. That's the reason I think majority of the ERP players in the market today, they are highly recommending that you drop all your customizations. You leave them and then go to a vanilla, which is actually a pure, business object oriented with that, and then you rebuild what is required. You do not have to carry forward all your customizations because, like rightly, pointed out by Robin here, that you have no clue why that customization was done because there's no documentation that is available for that. Probably there's a lot of effort to redo that, take it to the new one. So don't even carry that customization. Leave it, and then once you have redefined your business objectives and your strategy for your business, you can rebuild that. But again, if you would like to take all the customizations to the cloud, it's not the right practice. Again, we are not saying that don't do the customizations, redo the customizations based on your refined or redefined business strategy and business objectives rather than taking it. And we have always advised that if you have customizations, heavy customizations, be it on the data models, be it on the UI, be it on that, rather than taking it, because that's coming from ages. Why should we actually, do that? So let's reevaluate it and then redefine it, and then maybe we can move forward.
Thank you for the question, Robin. That was a very good one, and yes, agrees that we're evaluating before instead. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, as always, it's such a pleasure to speak to you, Imad, and we learn something new every time. And of course, I want to thank everyone also in the audience that contributed with their point of view. There is definitely a discussion that shows what a topic data migration is, and how many data migrations are happening as we speak. So that was really good to see. But what would be the best way, like if someone wants to learn a little bit more about you, perhaps get some opinions or some information about tools, what would be the best way to connect with you?
I think LinkedIn is the best, medium. And if we professionals are not utilizing the power of LinkedIn, probably we will lose out, on it. So I think anybody can reach out to me, and mostly, I mean, I'm answering to all the queries that are coming in because we have learned the hard way, but we do not want everybody to learn that way. So we are happy to share our experiences and guide. And then that's giving it back to the industry, and we have to give back to our industry because the industry has given us a lot.
No, that's great, and the fact that you have been involved in so many migrations yourself just shows it's just a guarantee for the depth of knowledge that you can share on the topic. So the last question, for instance, thank you very much for taking that one, because I wouldn't have been able to. So
No problem.
Definitely. Let's connect. Let's connect with Dr. Imad. Any website, anything else that they can find more information?
So Smart IG, so Integral Data Solutions, Analytical Solutions is the handle. Smart IG is the solution that you can explore, and there's lot of tips that we are sharing almost every day on LinkedIn.
Mm.
Smart IG, it stands for Integraphics, Smart Integration, and Smart Infographics. That is how that Smart IG is, and there's a lot of information that is shared technically, functionally, our learnings, experiences on LinkedIn, and you can follow us and actually go through the content. And if any point in time you would like to reach out to us, you can reach out to us.
Fantastic. Well, what can I say? I want to thank you again, Imad. It was a great talk. And would you like to leave anything to the audience? Any kind of tip or any suggestions for this big journey that they are undergoing?
See, never ever think that you would not, you would have to do everything from scratch. I'm saying that whenever you are embarking on it, get some expertise advice before you embark on the journey, because they might have already addressed those issues or concerns that you might have. So always take somebody, with you as an advisor, somebody who can, draft the strategy for you, help you relook at the strategy. Without that help, don't, indulge into a data migration projects, or adapt a methodology or a strategy. And I thank everybody, Pio, yourself, ThinkLinkers, for conducting this session, and all the audience and whoever are going to listen to this later on as well.
Absolutely. I extend my thanks to the whole audience, and I look forward until we meet the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.